The scale of the destruction caused by Typhoon Bopha in the southern Philippines is becoming clearer. More than 200 people have been killed, but that number is expected to rise as rescuers reach remote villages cut off by floods and landslides. Marga Ortigas has a report.
For many families in the southern Philippines, there is no counting the cost of Typhoon Bopha. People were swept away by landslides, flash floods, or struck by falling debris.
I saw them on a platform. The last thing my mother said was, "I love you."
Despite government efforts to warn everyone of the danger, many people in remote areas weren't able to find shelter in time.
We didn't think the winds would get that strong. The floods were rushing towards us. I couldn't imagine it would turn out that way, so we didn't come here to evacuate.
Most of the casualties are from the mountainous province of Compostela Valley, where waters rampaged down slopes and many houses in mining areas collapsed. Even people already in evacuation sites were swept away by floods.
We have retrieved 43 dead bodies and 24 people have been injured.
Rescuers have yet to reach many other areas that are still cut off by floodwaters, and local officials fear more bodies may yet be found. For survivors, there is no washing away Bopha's traces. Too tired now to deal with the uncertainty of the days ahead. Marga Ortigas, Al Jazeera, Mindanao, Southern Philippines.
Patrick Fuller is the communications manager for the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies in the Asia Pacific. He's joining me live now from Kuala Lumpur. Patrick, good to talk to you. So damage estimates are starting to come in, particularly in Mindanao, where the rain has for the most part stopped, and Palawan, which is likely to get rain, we understand, for another week. If you would, take a moment here and describe the scale of the disaster in those areas.
Well, basically, the typhoon made landfall a couple of days ago, and it's tracked across northern Mindanao. So what we're seeing is particularly flash floods in more mountainous areas, causing massive problems for those communities living in pretty remote areas. One of the problems we have as the Red Cross at the moment is actually getting access to these areas because a lot of roads are blocked. There's been landslides, fallen trees. So the Army, the local authorities are working together with us, trying to get access to these areas, but at the same time, trying to reach people who've been evacuated to these temporary centres with urgent supplies, such as daily food rations, hot meals.
Yeah, are you in a position to respond to Palawan as well? We understand that it's raining there and likely to rain for at least another week. Are you getting reports out of that area at all?
We are getting some reports, but apparently the cyclone has now tracked past Palawan.
Yeah.
So it's basically in the South China Sea, and over the next few days we're going to see heavy rains coming into Vietnam. So hopefully Palawan has avoided serious trouble. I mean, compared with last year with Tropical Storm Washi, we saw far worse damage, and that was largely because people couldn't escape from their homes, and there were very bad floods in northwestern Mindanao.
You mentioned that there is real concern about some of the mountainous regions in Mindanao, northern Mindanao. As we all know, the Philippines is made up of hundreds of islands. You can't be everywhere at the same time. How long before you think you could even get damage assessments from some of the smaller islands that were impacted?
Well, we believe the worst of the damage is in northern Mindanao, so it's in the mainland. I mean, luckily the typhoon tracked further south than it was anticipated. So I think over the next few days, Red Cross teams are out there covering all these affected provinces, so we should have a pretty good idea. But today we launched an appeal for urgent funding of about 4.5 million Swiss francs to help about 50,000 people. So what do they need? They need food, they need shelter materials for the long-term recovery, they need recoveries to water and sanitation infrastructure. It's going to be a big program, and we're still working on the recovery efforts from Typhoon Washi last year. So this is the 16th typhoon to have hit Philippines this year. They face an average of 20 typhoons each year, so it's been a bad year.
Yeah, Patrick, appreciate it. Patrick Fuller is the communications manager for the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies in the Asia Pacific. Patrick, appreciate it. Thanks for your time. In Egypt, police...